Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Diego Dar.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Sam Corrales, and tonight we've got the latest from the NBA Conference Finals. But first, we'll be joined by a certain Lady Eagle who's ready to fly off to greater heights.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game.
As the curtains close in UAAP Season 85, we've also witnessed the final run of some athletes in their collegiate careers. And one of them is Lady Eagle Vanie Gandler, who has a major announcement for the next chapter of her career. Now let's welcome her to the game. We've got the newest Signal HD spiker, Vanie Gandler. What is up? Welcome to the game.
Vanie, welcome to the game and congrats.
Thank you so
Yes, before we start, Vanie, I love the red hair. It looks like red looks good on you. I mean, sporting that jacket already, but this is major news for you today. So, Vanie, can you tell us the story behind your reason of joining Team Awesome, the Signal HD Spikers?
Yeah, well, coming into the professional league, I just really want to get out of my comfort zone so that I could learn. I think these first 2 years at least are really all about learning more and growing as an athlete and a person. So that's one of the main reasons why. And of course, in Signal, like my ates, I've looked up to them ever since. So,
Right.
I'm really excited to play with them, and the coaches also have been very welcoming.
I mean, you talked about, growing and, developing as a player, but now that you'll be playing for the Signal HD Spikers, what are your expectations playing for this team? They're consistent in the podium, they're always a contender, and what can you bring to the table for Signal, Vanie?
Like I said, I'm really expecting that I'll learn a lot from them. Like in the pandemic, I would watch a lot of highlights of Ateneo Molina and,
Right.
just watch how she plays, learn from her, and it's exciting to actually be playing by her side now. And of course, from me, I'm a fresh face, and so hopefully they can learn something from me too, but I'll definitely bring in my hard work and, my wanting to improve in the game. So, yeah.
I love that. We're excited to see you add in some, firepower and passion. It really looks like you really want to get into this team. Now, we were talking off the air, Vanie, and you said that you actually had your first taste of training with the team today. How did that go?
It was great. Before practice, I was actually super scared because I'm the first Atenean in the women's volleyball team of Signal, so I don't really know anyone. But as soon as I stepped in there, they've been very welcoming, like smiles on their face, and they just really put in the effort to really make me feel welcome. So I'm really grateful for that, and yeah.
That's super good. I mean, as the saying goes with this team, they're always like, happiness signal. So did you already hear that, like, in your training? Did you feel that vibe from this new team? Yeah?
Yes, I did. Very much.
And of course, when you talk about Coach Shaq, also one of the greatest coaches here in the Philippines as well. Did he talk to you anything like his plans, how to develop you, and all that?
Yeah. Before joining the team, of course, I asked him his expectations from me also, and I could really see that I could learn a lot from him. And I've also heard a lot of things about him, and I know that he's a great coach. So I'm really excited to work under him.
And you know what's interesting, Vanie, is that the PVL is not something new to you. You've played in the pros in 2019, as you entered Ateneo, you even made it into the finals. So I guess if you would look back on that journey, what were some of the learnings you could take from that experience as you go back to the pros?
Yeah, that's a long time ago, yeah. I've definitely learned a lot from them. That was great exposure for me, and it's exciting to be back in the league. Now it's professional, so it's more exciting. And
Now let's go for a quick throwback now to your UAAP and of course your Ateneo days. You've had a long career also for Ateneo now that you're with Signal. But let's take a look back. What did you learn, of course, from that Ateneo journey? You won a championship early in your career, and then ups and downs. All throughout the journey, what did you learn?
yeah, I learned a lot actually.
Right, of course.
I may not have had the most decorated career, in terms of awards, but the lessons I've learned so much about myself. I've learned how to, just keep working hard and believing in myself.
Of course.
People will always say something, but also, I know what I'm capable of, and I'll just continue to strive for the best.
And of course, in the UAP, as we all know, it's nothing like it. Honestly, when you play in the
Yeah.
UAP, the fans playing for the school, and of course, Ateneo, one of the well-supported teams as well. When you talk about playing under different coaches, of course, Coach O in Ateneo, what did you learn from him as well, and all your other teammates in Ateneo?
Yeah, Coach O, ever since the beginning, he taught us how to have faith in ourselves
Right.
and to just keep believing in one another. So I'm definitely gonna take this with me all the way, and with my teammates, like playing beside Faith Nisperas, I always tell her like it's such an honor for me.
Of course.
Because ever since high school, I would always look up to her. So being able to play with a player as great as her, like I learned so much from her.
Now, Vani, let's bring it back to the present. What have you been working on? Any specific thing you want to improve on in your game? And how are you gearing up mentally to go back into that stage of being in such high level of basketball?
Yeah,
Volleyball.
Oh,
Yeah,
volleyball.
right.
Yes.
Basketball and volleyball for you.
Yeah, well, after the UAP season, actually, I still continued my conditioning because I didn't want to get out of shape, especially because the PVL is soon. And of course, I have a lot to learn, a lot. All aspects of the game, I have a lot to learn. Mentally, I'm just really, I guess for now, just being grateful for where I am right now and just enjoying every moment and not trying to pressure myself too much because
Right.
I know, like, just put in the work, I'll get there, yeah.
And of course, Vani, I've seen you do the work sometimes. I see you in the gym as
Yes.
well. But of course, well, before we let you go, any message, of course, to the fans, to, of course, the Ateneo community, and of course, the Signal HD Spikers and the PVL fans that will be watching you in the next games?
Yeah, first to the Ateneo community, I just really want to say thank you for the never-ending support through like all the joys and tears. And I'm super grateful for that. They made me feel welcome.
Right.
And to the Signal HD Spikers, to the Signal community, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to play. And I met almost everyone today and I feel
Right.
really welcome. I'm so happy that I chose this team. I'm so excited to grow with them. And to the PVL fans and all the fans there, I hope you continue to support me and my team. And there's a lot of exciting things ahead.
And Vani, congrats once again, of course, for your UAP career. And now, with your new journey, with your new team, with the Signal HD Spikers,
Yeah.
thank you for
It
the
seems
time.
like you're right at home. I'm so happy for you, and we can't wait for what's in store in the next chapter of your volleyball journey, Vani.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Vani. And after the break, we'll talk NBA playoff action as the Miami Heat draw first blood against the Boston Celtics. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. You're watching The Game. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat have stolen home court advantage to open up the Eastern Conference after taking down the Celtics. Now, joining us to talk about the final series in the East and the West is NBA hype host Mikey Reyes, Mr. Shoot First himself. How are you, brother?
NBA pa pag-uusapan natin.
NBA.
Cute nyo eh.
We're
Kinikilig ako sa inyo eh.
We're gonna talk about basketball now, not volleyball, right? So,
Okay.
let's just talk about the Eastern Conference Finals first. The matchup between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. First of all, how important is this? That Miami got home court advantage right away in the Boston home court.
Well, it's big because first game pa lang, they already showed that they can win on the road, even in Boston. And they shut down the stars of Boston down the stretch, and they showed that they're, I don't want to say the more experienced team, but definitely today, they showed that they could establish themselves on both ends towards the end of that game.
And one guy who really stood out today is Jimmy Butler. I mean, he is him.
He is him.
He's been on fire, especially in the playoffs, Mikey. In that game one, he had 35 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. What did you see in his game?
What I've always expected of Jimmy Butler. I mean, I'm very public in saying that Jimmy Butler is that type of guy that you can really rely on, especially in big games. He is actually 8-2 with Miami in game ones. And that's whether it be home floor or away. He just knows how to really, a little bit of intimidation then if you get that first game.
Right.
Especially the way he played today. 35 points. He scored 8 times during the playoffs. He averaged 38 points against the Bucks. So these are his usual numbers. But the thing is with Jimmy Butler is he's doing it on both ends.
Right.
He can score, but when you watch him play, my assists, my blocks, my steals, and also that leadership, that dog mentality, he's the one that brings it for Miami.
Two-way player is Jimmy Butler for sure. But I want to talk about his level of basketball in the playoffs. Kasi pag tinignan mo in the regular season, Jimmy Butler sometimes he would sit out games. You would say he was a regular season, parang all-star. Regular all-star. But then in the playoffs, he's just a different type of guy. What do you see? Yung nag-iiba when it comes to the playoffs kay Jimmy Butler?
Well, he enjoys the bright lights. That's just about it. He enjoys it, that he knows all eyes are on him. He has the space to do what he does. Eric Spoelstra, his teammates know that he's going to be that guy that they can get the ball to. And, he just loves playing in front of away crowds. And I think that also shows the level of Jimmy Butler. I mean, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier to play in front of your home crowd. But to go in a hostile environment like Boston, the Garden, and then show out like that, that's why he's him.
He is him. I love that. It's giving superstar energy, right? Now let's go over to the other side of things. Let's talk about the Celtics, the duo of Jason Tatum. He got 30 points. Jaylen Brown with 22. What can you say about their combined effort?
Well, we know what they can do. Right. Definitely, we know what they can do. But down the stretch, it was very frustrating for a Boston fan. I'm not a Boston fan. I'm neither of those. But with the way you see the turnovers that they committed towards the end, and then they just didn't know who to get the ball to, who would be, aggressive enough. For me, mas okay nang makita kong Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown taking a shot rather than a traveling call or a miscommunication, may turnover, ganun. So I think it also showed today that they struggle towards the end in end-game situations. I believe sinabi ng analyst kanina that they're 0-something when the game is decided with 4 points or less. So they definitely should change that, especially deeper in the playoffs.
Well, closing out has been a problem for Boston, and of course, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, a little bit redundant when it comes to their style of play. But let's talk about the Western Conference Finals matchups.
Yes, let's talk about the Lakers now. Unfortunately, the Nuggets defeated the Lakers in Game 1, 132 to 126. Mikey, what went wrong for the Lakers?
Unfortunately for our producers and our directors.
Tuloy ba natin yung discussion na to? Ayun yung bang
Team producers.
Pwede na natin tigil yung discussion. But, man, Nikola Jokic happened. If not for Nikola Jokic, Jimmy Butler would be the best player in the playoffs today. But with the way Nikola Jokic plays, minsan hindi mo na ma-explain eh. Minsan parang because we play basketball, of course, we put a lot of emphasis on speed because we play that way.
Right.
But with how slow he plays and how deliberate he
natin
plays,
pwede gayahin
hindi
si
ko
Nikola.
ma-explain minsan yung nagagawa. That shot over Anthony Davis towards the end of
Logo.
the end of the third quarter in front of his face. Like, sometimes you just gotta tip your hat off with Nikola Jokic. But if you're a Lakers fan, that fourth quarter or the last 5 minutes, you have a lot to look forward to in Game 2.
Well, of course, the comeback, we'll talk about that in a bit, but let's talk about the superstar matchups here, talking about Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray against Anthony Davis and LeBron James, such a dynamic duo for both teams. So what can you see? Both of them for sure will be the barometer for them to win.
I don't want to say that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are less hungry, but definitely the hunger you see in Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, especially Jamal Murray, knowing na parang people have been counting him out ever since the bubble when he tore his ACL after that.
Right.
But now it's like he's on redemption mode. He's out to show that you rarely talk about Jamal Murray when you talk about the best point guards in the league. But now he's one of the few point guards that is still playing here. Palapit na tayo ng June, and if they can get over the hump of the Lakers, obviously that will be a big boost for them confidence-wise going to the finals. But parang hindi pa naman tapos yung Lakers, LeBron and AD when they're healthy. Game 1 pa lang. Yung laro ni LeBron at saka ni AD, parang palabas sila ng dugout kanina after ng Game 1, parang hindi pa masyado. Wala pa yan.
Well,
so, a lot of confidence there.
There were bright spots.
Yeah, Mikey, you're talking about the late comeback of the Lakers. Unfortunately, it was not enough. But what bright spots can they take from Game 1 that they can take into Game 2?
Well, that adjustment with Rui. Rui was the one guarding Nikola Jokic. People are saying pagod na. People are saying it was because of Rui. So you want Anthony Davis to be roaming around in the middle, being able to block shots. Because if you put him as the primary defender of Nikola Jokic, wala nang sasalo after that. And we all know how important that is when you go up against a guy like Nikola Jokic. So the adjustments that Darvin have made towards the end could be that, hope na pangahawakan ng Lakers.
Well, I can see the smiles in our producers and our directors'
Pag-asa pa daw.
faces. So, yep.
Guys, the future looks bright. And hang in there, Mikey, because after the break, we'll take a peek at the fate of future NBA first pick Victor Wembanyama. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. You're still watching The Game. The San Antonio Spurs will be acquiring the most sought-after and highly captivating draft prospect since LeBron James. Now with us to talk about the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama is NBA Hype host Mikey Reyes. Mikey, we do know that the Spurs got the first pick in the NBA draft lottery. Did you expect this at all?
Well, how many years already that the weakest team or the team with the worst record did not get number one? So that is kumbaga, those are the emotions that come with the draft lottery. Hindi mo rin alam eh. Minsan nga, not even the lower seeded teams, medyo mas mataas pa ng konti with what we expect. But definitely the Spurs did struggle this season. They have a team na medyo butas-butas in different positions, and pinag-uusapan naman that it's Wemby na yung pick nila dun eh. So that will be definitely something to look forward to.
So the top three, Spurs, Hornets, and of course my Blazers at 3. So that's a good sign also. But let's talk about Victor Wembanyama. They're saying probably one of the best draft prospects ever in NBA history. Do you believe the hype? What can you see with him? Do you see his game translating to the NBA game?
Right now, he's an Instagram phenom naman eh. So you don't really know yet against the grown men of the NBA, and it's been a debate who is the GOAT prospect. Is it still LeBron when he came out in 2003, or is it Wemby now? Pero para sa akin, lamang si Wemby sa social media. 'Di ba? Lamang si Wemby sa social media. You can't really compare. Can you imagine if LeBron had social media like it is now, how it is now? So I'm still going with LeBron because he's already proven what he's done.
Great.
And para sa akin, I don't know kung ako lang ba na awkwardan pa ako kay Wemby sa sobrang tangkad niya.
7'5".
Medyo parang create player pa siya at this point. So I don't know what he can bring yet to it.
And Mike, by the way, if you remember sa episode natin sa NBA Star Philippines,
Hype mo
I said the Spurs will win the championship probably in the next few years. And let's talk about quickly yung combination nito ni Victor Wembanyama, the Spurs organization, their culture, and of course, Greg Popovich. What can you see? Magandang combination ba ito? Because Victor actually said na, he wanted the Spurs to get
Siyempre sabihin niya.
In-attract niya daw. And the
sabihin niya.
universe aligned.
Pero with the Spurs, I think it says a lot because with the success that the Spurs has had in the past decade before nawala si Kawhi, nag-retire yung Big Three. Since then, parang hindi na natin masyado na pag-usapan yung Spurs, which is, medyo iba yun if you're a 90s kid or you grew up in the 2010s, 2000s. Nag-iiba yung perception sa Spurs. But Pop is still there. They have guys in that coaching staff. Tim Duncan is there. I'm sure mas magiging active din si David Robinson with Wemby, with Wemby here. So, a lot of things to look forward to if you're a Spurs fan. I'm sure Bea Fabregas is very happy to see yung number one, di ba? Yung number one Spurs fan dito sa Pilipinas. So, tingnan natin kung anong magagawa ni Wemby.
And once again, Mikey, thank you. Very excited to see what Wemby has to bring to the table dito sa NBA. And Mikey, thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mikey. And thank you for joining us. I'm Sam Corrales.
And I'm Diego Dario, and this has been The Game.